Well, now finally the government is breaking its silence and is answering a lot of questions. A little while earlier I spoke to the Foreign Minister Salman Khurshid. I began by asking Mr. Khurshid, with a show cause having been served to Augusta Westland, is this the beginning of the end of this company, Finmeccanica, the parent company and the other companies in India? Is this the beginning of the end? This is what Mr. Khurshid had to say.
I think it's very important in any of these matters not to jump to conclusions, but to allow the lawful procedures to work themselves out. Because doubt has been cast on their dealings with India due to an investigation at the other end, at the Italian end, I think it was important for us to respond. And one way to respond is to give the matter for investigation to the CBI, and the other way to respond is in terms of civil consequences, which is why the show cause notice would have been issued. But I don't think you should come to any conclusions on the basis of a show cause notice, because the show cause notice is actually an opportunity for the other person to explain their conduct, and action takes place only if the conduct is not satisfactorily explained.
Mr. Khurshid, the BJP wants a time-bound, court-monitored special investigation into this scam. Are you willing to accept this? Is the government willing to accept this?
Well, as I understand, we are open to a dialogue on this. The decision obviously will have to be taken by the concerned agencies and concerned part of government. I mean, this is a decision that will have to be taken by the Ministry of Defence, as yes, indeed by the Home Ministry, and I'm sure that they will listen to any sage and sensible advice. I think the BJP should talk to us rather than scream and shout, because let's not forget that there are issues on this that are distracting from the main concern, and those issues pertain to decisions that were taken during the NDA government. I'm not passing blame, I'm only explaining facts, that there are decisions that they took, perhaps the right ones, and those decisions are what led finally to the conclusion of the contract. But in the conclusion of the contract, if there are any matters that are of a suspicious nature or an unwholesome nature, as seems to be the indication by the Italian investigation, then they must be taken to a logical conclusion, and that's what we will do, and that was the intention in giving this matter over to the CBI.
Mr. Khurshid, the government has been criticized for going slow in ordering an inquiry, even though several of these allegations of corruption are not new. Why has it taken so long for the government to react? The media seem to have copies of this report. A lot has been asked about why the CBI wasn't pushed into investigations earlier on.
Well, you know that Italian jurisdiction is an autonomous and independent jurisdiction of a sovereign state. There are diplomatic procedures by which you can try to reach. I mean, the Italians were reaching out to us to get their Marines released, but what were we saying? We were saying that the matter is in court, and the courts are independent of the executive, but the courts believe in rule of law, and the courts of our country are outstanding, and they will give justice. So now if someone says at the Italian end that their foreign ministry didn't do enough to get the Marines released, I think that would not be fair. And equally, it would not be fair to say that we didn't do enough. We were not going to declare war for documents. All we could do is to use persuasion. And even at the Italian end, they obviously took some time to come to a conclusion that an arrest was appropriate. Nobody is asking questions as to why the arrest wasn't done 3 months ago. They must have reached a conclusion that allowed for a decision about an arrest now, and therefore we also take it that this is an important turning point at which we can proceed with an investigation in which documents, materials and things sought by the CBI can actually be sought through court proceedings.
So what about the money trail in India? 51 million euros were channeled to India. Serious questions being asked about shell companies or front companies in India. Are we any closer to knowing the truth of this?
I'm sure that we have very competent people sniffing the money trail or any trail. It's not really frankly fair for me to speculate or to give half-baked information. Obviously, reputations are always involved when investigations of this nature takes place, And I think it's important that the public interest prevail, which is both that the truth should be known, that defaulting people should be punished or made accountable, and that no innocent person is unnecessarily dragged into a controversy. So as the investigation proceeds, the investigating agencies themselves will share the information that they feel will be justified to be shared with the public.